Love, peace, and love. We're back with the Bubbly Love Show. Okay, so we gonna try this again. So my sister, okay, okay, we're here. Hey, we're here. Okay, so we're gonna go live tonight with my sister Odetta and Instagram was just I had to update it, so I'm gonna wait for her to come on. But with that being said, just some beautiful updates. Um, a lot of things that have been coming up that I'd like to share is like right now, it's been like winter and it's this like resting stage. Um, so right now, a purple bonnet's on deck. Okay, I see you.
Yes,
Yay!
I'm hearing you. I'm listening, yes.
Okay, peace and love, sister. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, before getting started, I'm just going to finish my thought.
Yes, because I
So,
was listening. Like, go, girl. Yes.
yeah, thank you. So, a lot of things that's been coming up for me, and please like comment like whatever comes up for you. So, right now it's been winter in New York. And more than just winter, I feel like it has to do with the weather and then
Yeah.
also the energy that's just happening right now. It's like it's a transformational period. And something that has been coming up for me, and I know like very close friends and family of mine, has just been like rest. Like yesterday, I went to the studio and I was talking to my friend, and he was just like, I don't know about you, but lately it's just been getting more challenging to like get up and get out of bed. And I felt like relieved to hear another person say that, because it really has been coming to me. Even if we like think about like bears, I keep thinking about bears. So, like bears, they hibernate during this time. Like, I just remember in school, I always like, uh, symbolism of a bear is like hibernation. So I'm like, okay, a bear hibernates during that time. And I remember learning that they stuff themselves up. Oh, squirrels do that too. The squirrels, they stuff themselves up with like nuts and stuff. Like me.
Really?
Okay, they set themselves up with nuts, and then with the bears, they end up like eating a bunch of food and stuff, and then they like basically just like sleep it
Yeah.
off for that time, like in their cave type of vibe,
Yeah.
right? So I make this comparison because a lot of times I like to look at nature, to see what is nature doing, because it's like I am a reflection of nature. So, and it's like nature is so like pure. It's definitely, I don't want to say untouched, but it's also in a way untouched in this way. Like you can put, they can put the chemicals and things of that nature and pesticides in to the soil and stuff like that. However, it's like soil and earth and plants is so divine that it will end up like healing itself essentially.
Right.
So with that reflection, yeah, a lot has been telling me to just like rest. And in my experience, like I was speaking about resistance last week, and even just with not doing like the bubbly love show the way that I usually do. And I feel like it's like these tests that have been coming up that's like, yo, I'm telling you to rest.
Man.
Spirit's like, I'm telling you to rest. And then what's interesting in my life is like, it's telling me to rest, but then I'm getting these like opportunities that's like, hey, Bubbles, you want to come here? Hey, Bubbles, you want to come here? You want to come here? And I'm like, yo, but that sounds dope, though. But Spirit's really telling me to rest. So I'm like, I've been feeling myself in this like back and forth. So can you like share like has any of this resonated for you?
Like most, yes, I actually was like, it's funny because my like bird CD, the wolves are on, and like the wolves are only one track. So when they're on, it's like it's actually something of a translation of a celebration and also warning, but in a good way. But I was also gonna message you like, how do you do what you do day to day and still get like your rest and your meditation. And for me today, I practiced meditating for 1 hour, and it was like my body was telling me specifically at this time to listen up and start to translate that message to just act. And it's kind of like, I love how you're speaking about the bear, because actually bear's prosperity. It's going to be like coming into a season of prosperity, and the bear doesn't like to wake up early in hibernation. It doesn't need to think it needs to, you know what I mean? Because it's the luck, it's the celebration when it comes out to show the people once again, like why we hibernate, or also the conquest of our journey with Mother Nature, and when she tells us what to do and how to do it. And I personally, my animal yesterday was a northern harrier. I saw it fly right above me, and it's the same one in my neighborhood. So a northern harrier is like an eagle; they're like cousins. So
Mhm.
so for me, it's just like rest, but also ready for an attack, but not a physical attack, but like ready for something that has been conquested and taken care of, and actually now representing the time of solitude. But it's a restful period that is needing a translation. And the translation is that it will be unexpected. The translation is that if I release my vulnerability in different processions of my day, whether it's part-time or actually my yoga, or versatiling my gifts and talents just to show up and volunteer, like I will be given back through this over time. So it's almost like the northern harriers like, take care of actually the schedule, don't rush for summer and the results, because it's kind of, it's a conquest of self coming back home. So yes, yes. And I've been also asking more people like, how has your sleep been, and how has your rest period been? And when I feel like I don't want to sleep, I go out and walk, and I feel like I'm still mobilizing a resistance, but I'm just trying to practice conviction. But it's like
Mhm.
I'm walking because I have to actually appreciate how to sleep. I have to appreciate how to meditate. I have to appreciate how to evolve differently in the pieces now today, because it's the right time and right moment to do so.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I would like to touch on the meditation part to delve more into that. But before we get started, I do want you to introduce yourself for those who do
Thank you.
not know you. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. So my name is Odetta. I hope you guys can see me. I wanted to share
Y-
some of my work, and well, I am a creative, and I right now am working with painting or pastel drawing, art therapy, and being a mediator right now as a teacher as well, that has had more than 20 years of experience with differences in security home, differences in parental figures and self-parenting techniques. I also like to cultivate alongside cooperation and alongside people. And I've just recently been receiving an opportunity to speak about this position and share it and be like, I feel like Adore is exactly what's for me. And it's like something initially that I was hiding. It's like I was doing all this work, and then God's like, you have to add this part. And I'm like, no, I'm
Mhm.
not going to add that part, because what is its need? And its need is that I was chasing wealth and fulfillment from the physical. And God was just showing me that there's something very closer to you in this journey. And now I can share my wealth, but in the same way, I have to um, share myself and my vulnerability and look through these parts in order to also journey onto these parts and see them open and vocate themselves. So I am a private person, I used to say, but now I call it like a mediated person. I like to take my time to like get away and meditate, and take my time to go to nature. So um,
Mhm.
I create music, which I'm going to be posting. I made a lot of tracks. I have handmade music like a rain stick. So we're going to be also going into a meditation. Um, yeah, like right now it's a lot of things. So yeah, like Right now, there's a lot of
Yes.
things. Yes.
Yes, everyone, make sure you stay tuned for the end because Odetta is going to share her arts with us, okay?
Oh,
With
really?
indigenous. Yes, you see the challenge, girl. That's why I sent it. I was like, yo, you see the challenge. The
Oh,
challenge is
shoot.
to
Thank you.
perform sound healing with
Yes.
instrument of choice or an indigenous instrument. I kind of figured, I don't think I fit the whole word indigenous, so I just said sound healing.
Yeah. Sound healing, but also I think the indigeneity is joining along. Like I want you, Bubbles, to join along with your drum. I want everyone to join along as we enter this new space. Yeah, I have a pre-recorded one, but I actually wanted to produce something of a live session. So yes, let's do it. And thank you so much for our connection. And um, I don't know. Yeah, thank you. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know. Yes.
yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
So to circle back to the topic about meditation, it's a real fun topic because I really want to get some like feedback from you and from those who are joined in. Like
Okay.
the question is, what is meditation for you? And I'm going to start, and then we'll go to Odetta, and then we'll go to the chat and see if anyone has anything to say and build. Okay. All right,
Yes.
cool. So, meditation. So interesting. So, I really want to say that, like, growing up, I've always heard about like meditation and like yoga and things of that nature, but not necessarily being familiar with it. So, my vision of meditation was always sitting in an Om position, and the typical home, So I didn't. There was a time that I did not know about it much. So it was just something, and I would really say that, my real introduction to meditation where I was able to like really learn and actually practice it for a consecutive amount of days and see like
Yes.
the benefits of
Yeah.
it was when I went to Mexico. And that was like 2 years ago. About yeah, because it was
Mm.
when I made my
No.
drum.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so
Yes.
a little bit before that, I want to say that I feel like I was like meditating a little bit before that because I was already in that vibe. But like I said, this was the first time that I really got like training. I want to say like meditation training type of thing. And it was like, oh, this is what this like, and we were talking about sound healing. I was this one really magical meditation where they played the gong. I remember our feet toward the gong because the gong would be so like it would be too loud essentially if our heads were like right there. So we had to we had to lay on the floor with like our backs on the floor, and we did a breathing exercise where we took a deep
Mm.
inhale
Yes.
into our stomach where our stomach expanded, and then we held it for as long as you could. So the thing was that
Mm.
we were like in a circle, everyone like laying down on a circle like while they played the gong, right? And essentially when everyone is going at their own pace to like how long they hold their breath, and then when the idea is when you stop holding the breath to basically begin again. So meditation,
Yes.
I'm not really sure exactly how long, but it was at least an hour, or it was like elongated amount of time. I don't know if I could use elongated in that sentence, but it was about an hour. And I
Wow.
remember in that meditation, I ended up seeing blue. It was like a royal blue. And I remember that at that time, I was getting the message about my throat chakra and opening up my throat chakra and speaking. I mean, hence, that's how I was gifted, like, even with my drum, right? Like, speaking more, literally, like, affirming my power, affirm yourself, positive affirmations, right? And I'm sharing that experience for anyone who wants to try it because you can also play another type of sound healing tool. But then in addition to that, I just wanted to share an experience in which I guess I seen something and it's like I am I experienced it in a real way where it was like it was personal for me. And the most interesting part about it is that when we did the reflection with the rest of the group, everyone like had like something different
Same.
to say. And what was even cooler is like a brother that I was really close with, he ended up telling me that he seen green and he was going through different things about love and self-love and stuff like that. So it was just like, yo, he seen green, I seen blue, but then other people just got messages in different ways
Yeah.
that wasn't through the color. So what I
Yeah.
found in meditation that is so beautiful is that it's like we can have these practical like foundations when it comes to like deep breathing, right? And technique, right? The technicalities of it. However, it's like your meditation is your own experience and you're going to receive
Right.
things in different ways. So it's not necessarily a right or wrong way to do it as long as the intention is the stillness and receiving, being open to receive. So for me, that's what meditation is. And I'll go a step further to say that a message that I got that was felt like an epiphany the other day was that it was like, Deja, this whole time you're like, um, I want to speak about my experience when it comes to meditation. I feel like there's times when I'm like very consistent with as far as like going to the park or like going to sit specifically like in
Right.
a yoga position and meditate in that way. However, something that I do every single day that without even thinking about it is like I sit with myself and I just listen. I just listen and I
Yeah.
don't even have my eyes closed a lot of times. A lot of times I'm like looking at something, but I'm somewhere else and I'm just like receiving
Yeah.
information. And something that I've been doing better with lately is writing it down. Because it's like no matter how silly or small or mundane that thing may sound that you receive, like, or how ridiculous it is, right? It's like you're receiving it for a reason. And I found that me writing down the things that I am receiving helps me to later on gain clarity. Like, oh, snap, it's because I was going through this. Like, it's the connection to this. And it's just like an infinite journey. So, with that being said, the epiphany that came to me said that, Deja, this whole time when you're journaling, because I journal a lot, that's what started this whole love for
Yeah.
like writing and rapping and all that stuff. It all started with me not feeling like the American language, honestly, I could express myself the way I really wanted to. I've always understood things through like shapes and colors and
Yes.
sound,
Yes.
and,
Me too. Yeah.
like vibrations. And I felt like when I wrote it down, it was just like this magic that happened where I was just able to just get clarity. And something that I realized as well, with the like it's a game, well, I call it a game, but an activity that you can do is automatic writing, right, where you can
Yes.
just set a timer and you can just like listen. But girl, I realized this whole time growing up, that's what I was always doing.
Always
I
doing.
was
Literally.
always sitting there just like, okay, and then I'm literally getting messages, I'm getting ideas, I'm getting, oh yeah, you shouldn't do this. Like, I literally have my journals from when I was like 14 years old and I recently read them, and some of the stuff I was writing, I was like, I was how old? Like,
Wow.
because like some of it was so profound that it's something that like I would be saying now through the experiences that I've had. But I'm like, no, it came from the same place. It came from, the creator, the
I
most
love
high.
that.
So
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I love that you said that. That resonates so much, and I have a lot. I have questions to ask you. I wanted to ask also, like, it's really interesting when you went to Mexico because I went on a vacation to Mexico when I was, I think, 14 or 15, and we went into this cave, and pretty much they were communicating the airwalk culture that I felt because of the feathers and of the specific instruments that they put fire in to clear it, and then they blow it out as they start the music. And it's like all of these different tools that we looked at when we were in the cave. And they asked the tourists which we were, if we wanted to do a ceremony to show kind of the indigeneity and the culture, right? I think this was, I'm not sure if this was Cancun, or I think it was around the Cancun maybe, but I just remember that it's really interesting how you said that that's where you started to learn more about your creation art, and you understood that the symbolism of the drum is as powerful as the symbolism of the crown that they placed for us. And a lot of people were looking, so me and my father, we really were really interested, even though they chose us really because we were more like open-minded. We came closer to everyone with respect. And everyone else was kind of like around the cave and kind of like, I don't know, like judging the cave. And it reminds me of like, this is where also we once used to speak to the stars and be, and it's just funny to me. But so me and my father, we were initially, we wore it and we were marrying off a ceremony and we did a prayer. And it was really beautiful because the shaman, I looked at him and he saw me look at the instrument and he said this, I think he said it, but like I know he said it because I was in the cave and I'm young, and I feel like he only looked at me with telepathy because I started to get the download, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And it was pretty much that the vibration of music is not just through the instrument, it's through whoever opens us to open up to outreach the knowledge of the music. And it reminds me that the instrument was symbolism of what I was wearing, which is symbolism of what we're creating all together, which is the symbolism of a protected environment. So it's
Ashe.
like, yeah, yeah. So when you said that, I wanted to also ask, um, like, I feel like you were destined to do what you're doing. I feel like when we look at you, we see that soul, and we see exactly the right. You know what I mean? Like we know you,
I
and as you
received
move
that.
towards your destiny, as you move towards your destiny and further, the soul is seen and known and known. You know, so um,
Ashe.
I I think it's very coincidental that you picked up a lot of inspiration there as well. You know.
It's no
Right.
coincidences,
Like,
and that's the interesting part about this too, right? Because I meet others like you along the journey. I would call you my soul family, right? And when it's like when I know, it's like when I see people, it's like when I was younger, it was like, oh, this person looks familiar. I'm not sure why. Nowadays, when I see a person and they familiar, I'm like, oh, that's my soul family. Like I be like, oh, that's my soul family. I already know. Like sometimes it could just be a conversation. Sometimes you could see their face. It's just different things. But from when we really like connected that time with our last conversation on the live, that happened to be very spontaneous and just so
yes.
real, I was like, oh yeah. Like, and also I believe you sent me a voice note before that, because hearing your voice, that's another thing. Hearing your voice, I was like, oh yeah, like that's my sister. Like
Oh, wow.
yeah, like
Yo, that's such a strong.
yeah, cause like I'm sensitive to like sound and stuff. So a lot of times like I could like get hurt by sounds, like
Right.
honestly, like you know what I'm saying? So so when I hear certain sounds or like voices, I'm like, oh, I know this voice, or like I resonate with this voice, like this voice is of me, like we're connected. Like I know that. Like it's no
Oh,
push, like real talk. So yeah, and I thank you too because your voice will calm me down. So
thank you. Yes,
like your voice is really, yeah, it's very calming. So
thank
thanks.
you. Yeah. It's so funny. I had this teacher, my favorite teacher. She was a drama teacher, and she used to have a very high pitched voice, and she taught herself at a young age how to change it. And she would always like redirect my voice, and I never took it as a bad thing because I like women who wanted to also ask me and wanted to also give me that impact, even if I didn't ask, because I didn't see a lot of people maybe ask for me or come close to me. But it was like very symbolic when she said that. And I don't know if that was bad or good, but she kind of taught me something about my voice or how I can learn more about it as well. Because I'm also like, it's funny because I'm a social butterfly, but also sometimes I'm very like mute. It's weird. It's like when I'm listening, I'm really listening though. Like, like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sometimes
feel
like,
that. Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. And I feel like it's a balance and it's definitely no like good or bad. Like everything is full circle. We need one for the other one to be able
yeah,
to work. Right? So absolutely. I would like to connect on something that you said to connect it to the topics that we have tonight,
yeah,
right? So you said something about in Mexico and
yeah,
connecting to the indigenous. Oh, okay. That's what I want to say. So, in addition to like me just really expanding my creativity, my spirituality, and sense of like self, in Mexico, the one of the highlights of that experience was my ayahuasca ceremony.
yeah,
And the reason being is I actually would like to do a live that's specifically on plant medicine. So I won't go exactly into details. You and I can speak about it. But I like I'll go more in depth because y'all like I'm very open. Like I'll tell
right.
y'all. But
Yeah,
just for the sake of what this topic is, I'm just gonna keep it brief. But essentially for the ayahuasca ceremony, I had a an experience. I had a memory from my childhood that had to do with my womb and a sexual trauma, essentially. And when I had that experience, for those of you who are not familiar with ayahuasca, it is a medicinal herb that is also a purgative. So that means it makes you vomit. So, what I learned about the plant is that it's a vomit that is, yes, physical because it's literally cleansing you out, but then it's also a vomit that is spiritually cleansing
mm-hmm.
because my experience on the medicine, every time I say this, yeah, okay. I just love my story. And like this experience in Mexico is something that I can like literally talk about for hours. But so during my experience on the ayahuasca, um, when I had my meditation, because basically the shaman they tell you to it's given to you in a liquid form. It kind of looks like wine, so it's like a dark red type of vibe. It's like not exactly like wine, but like that kind of vibe. And then I actually had to go and get two because the first one wasn't doing it for me.
Wow.
And they told you that like everyone is just different, so that's not good or bad or anything like that. It's just everyone's different and needs a certain amount to either like to get them there. And I feel like because I'm already like very intuitive and very um and also from a very young age, I've learned how to suppress my powers. So when it comes to those meditative things and I start to feel loopy, I know how to ground
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Yeah,
But without knowing it, I do it without even realizing it, right? So I just needed a higher dosage. That's my perspective on that. And when I had the memory, I so essentially I took the drink and they told you to go into a meditation. And at first, I was hearing everyone around me like purge and stuff like that. And I was like in my head, because I'm like, why is not working for me? Like, why am I not purging? Like, and then they're just like, focus, focus. Like, you're good. You should just meditate. They're like, just close your eyes, meditate. You got this. So I remember when I allowed myself to finally just go into the meditation, that's when I had the memory. And I literally, y'all, seen the memory happening like
right.
within my third eye.
Yeah.
And as I was getting the clarity
Mm-hmm.
about, oh, this trauma is connected to that's why you treated your womb that way. That's why you had these relationships with these men, these females, this, these, that, like because of how you felt about yourself and your womb and how powerful your womb actually is that you didn't even know because it was taken from you at an age that you didn't even have that power to be able to fight back and to, stand up for yourself. So as I'm getting all of that clarity here and I'm seeing it, my body now is like, bleh,
Right.
and it's like, it's like purging it out. And I remember thinking, like, I'm doing it. It's
The in between, literally. Awesome.
but it was a special experience for me because I realized that it was something that, like I said, it was purging my body, but I also spiritually, like mentally, had to face it and accept it and acknowledge it and confront it and then release it.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I bring that up because this journey in Mexico, this experience really had a lot to do with just like healing my womb and like self-love and just really going on that journey. And some of the things that we're talking about today is just with body shaming and and just going a step further in sensuality and just the divine feminine in her being and her essence essentially. And I put pervert culture because I realized that that's what it is.
Right.
And I'm one to like, I'm gonna say what it is. I have to speak up. That is like literally, I have to speak up. I have to say it. The culture, the over sexualized culture that tells us that it is okay for a stranger to stare at your ass and like, and it's normalized essentially, right? And if they go a step further and like try to grab you or something and you get upset, now you a bitch,
Right.
right? So it's like we got to talk about this. And
Mhm.
I feel like I want to talk about this from a woman's perspective. And then I also like, I would like to start bringing up this conversation to speak from men as
Yes,
well,
yes.
because it's so
Hmm.
deep. I feel like we were speaking a bit about this last time about how there's some young men who have been sexually abused themselves by like older women, for instance, right? So heterosexual men being sexually abused by women, by older women, and them looking at it like, what? I'm cool. That's cool. Like, that's looked at like you gotta win. Like, what? You're 13, you got an 18-year-old. Mind you, she just took your virginity. So now you're looking at sex like it's something, like it's not important. It's not something that is of essence. It's something that can just be quick and done. It's something that you'll use egotistically to like manipulation. Like it's so deep. So
Yeah.
please share some thoughts and yeah.
Yes. um, Especially, it's really important also to communicate. Um, it's so funny because it's very interesting, a journey that I've been going through at a young age with a parental figure. And you start to understand that even the pervert culture, that exactly what you're speaking about actually, like, it's the reason why I'm cutting off is because sometimes when your parental figure has been a part of that culture, sometimes there's you pass down these, like, not curses, but these entities and these energies and these negative vibrations onto your children. And my father would be, not to obviously like call out anybody for their position, because I want to also take into consideration that um, abused children can kind of see other abused children and they kind of know. And I feel also that my father learned from a very dominant, violent way, I guess, how to treat his body. And that same way in return allowed him to choose whether to be a part of a privilege, to take it from this way, or whether to denounce the culture at that time so that he could initially learn to be confidently open minded to allowing his feminine to flourish the way he chooses. And it speaks to me that there's a relationship I had at a young age about, um, first, I accepted my father for who he was, and then I understood the accountability that would later be kind of bestowed upon me. And so um, I think many girls also go through this, because I was writing my diary 2 days ago and I'm like,